Hello and welcome back to our little farm in the hills of eastern Spain. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you'll know I've been working on the transformation of a small corridor room into a cosy office for my husband Mauro. That's still ongoing and we are so close to being done, and I'm going to show you everything soon enough. It's just been a bit of a challenge because Mauro is working in there during the week, so I really only have the weekends to make progress on this. And of course, we also just want to take some time to have fun and do some relaxing things together. However, during the week I have made a start on one of our main projects for the year, which is our kitchen rebuild. So the kitchen was our big plan for 2022 and 2023 even, and we were basically ready to start it. I had finished off most of the other things that we were doing at the end of last year. The polytunnel and Mauro's office is nearly done. So we're kind of free to start it, but it feels like I've just been avoiding it a bit. The only thing we've done so far, and it is only the second week in January, but the only thing we've done is move the big old table that was in there. There was a massive table that was taking up way too much space. We moved that, and that's been really good because we've been able to use that as a workbench for the moment. I think it's eventually going to end up in the polytunnel as like a potting bench, but for now it's been really useful as a workbench.
Where are we going?
Like just outside the front of the house, so I can do the floor there. I feel like the top is gonna just fall off the legs, so we might as well do it in two parts and try and put it back together. What happens? Okay, these legs are not coming with it.
I'm not.
They're not. That.
Some legs were coming with it.
Are your legs coming with it?
I don't know.
I can't see you.
No.
No. Okay. On its side, maybe? Well, there.
I think if we glue these pegs and then put screws through these holes.
Down. But yeah, apart from that, it hasn't really got off the ground yet, the kitchen project. Partly it's because I don't have like a full plan for the entire room and exactly how it's going to be, and although I've put lots of things together, I'm not 100% sure about my choices and, you know, what's going to be most useful and how to design it and how to build it so that it's the best kind of kitchen we can have. Lots of the stuff that we do in the kitchen we haven't been doing for that long. Like, it's only our second year of you know, preserving our own food and doing stuff like that, so there's probably a lot of stuff that could be useful I just don't know, I haven't thought of yet. So I've been kind of avoiding it and doing things around it, like vaguely related to it, like clearing up the area next door. But I think today is the day I'm going to start doing something actually kitchen related, which actually needs to be done, which is starting to plaster over and fill in this wall. This is the first step of closing in the kitchen, so rather than knock this down and build like a new wall here, I thought I might as well just try and use what we've already got. So I'm just filling in these little holes with stones that we pulled out of the field, so then I can cement over the top and seal it all in. The top part is going to be for actual windows, like opening windows, so leaving that for now, but this is just something really simple that I can do to get started and feel like I'm starting to make some progress here. So before we go any further, I just want to show you what the kitchen looks like right now before any work has started. So this is a candid view of our kitchen. I haven't tidied or anything, as I'm sure you can tell. We've got a sink here. The sink was already installed when we moved into the property. We've got some kind of countertops over here. We've got a grill. We've got yeah, not a lot of storage space. We've got a table. We've actually got two tables. There's our little gas oven, which was secondhand. We've got our little fridge there. We've got a roof. The roof is actually pretty good. It's got these big solid beams and it's got a ton of cement on top, so it's pretty stable. We've got a light bulb, which we make great use of. We've got a pipe. This comes down from the terrace up above and diverts any water from cooling on the terrace.
Here's our grill in a little bit more detail. We're not really sure whether to keep the grill or not, but we probably will keep the chimney. We've got some holes in the wall for water to come in, which I just haven't hooked up yet. And at the moment we use this little glass jar of water here, which we fill to wash our dishes.
This kind of feels like building a dry stone wall, but on easy mode. Because it really doesn't matter where you put the stones, because the cement holds them all in. So you just fit them in where you can, and yeah, it's quite satisfying. It's quite fun. So the technique I'm favouring at the moment is putting a few stones in, putting a bit of cement just to keep them in place, and then poking a bit more cement around them. And then as the cement dries a bit, coming back and sticking a few more stones in. This is a bit easier than trying to balance them all or wedge them in the hole. And it's going quite fast. Certainly I would say this has got to be a lot faster than building a new wall with bricks, I would imagine. Well, I don't know, I've never done much stuff with bricks, but I would think it would be a lot more work to do that. And we would be wasting all of these blocks that are already in place, so that would be a shame. Okay, I've just finished the first layer covering all of the outside part, and tomorrow I will also try and do the inside. So this took me exactly 1 day, so my estimate was fairly close. Since I've already put all the stones in the little holes and I don't have to do that again from the other side, tomorrow should be quicker, so I'm hoping to finish this off tomorrow. So as you can see, the inside is now done, so I did that yesterday. It was another pretty quick job. With the leftover orange peels, what I normally do is cut them up into little strips like this, and then we dry them out on the top of the stove. And when they're nice and dry, they make fire starters. Well, I've never been able to start a fire actually using just these, but we add them into the kindling that we use, and I think altogether it kind of helps the fire get going. So that's what we do with these, so as not to waste them. Another thing I would like to try is making a homemade like cleaner with vinegar and orange peels. I think that's something I might try one of these days.
Before I started work on the kitchen, I had actually kind of started another little project on the side, literally on the side. I've been cleaning out this area which joins onto the side of the house next to the bathroom. Once again, before we get started, let's have a look at what we're dealing with here. So we come out of the kitchen and we come around the corner and first of all see the bathroom on the left. So that's a pretty good room which I've already kind of converted into a working bathroom, and the rest of the space has really just become a bit of a dumping ground for all sorts of bits and pieces. On the right here you can see a drop down to our garden area and the compost area. There's a wormery down there as well which you can't quite see. Here you can see the kind of rooms that we've got. We've got the bathroom, a little lean-to, and then we've got what I guess is a shed. It's got walls, it's got a door, it's got a kind of roof. There's a kindling pile at the edge where we store some of our kindling. There's two big cypress trees here, and just behind the cypress trees is the land boundary. So this is the little lean-to. The roof, I don't know what's going on with the roof. This is inside the shed. It's full of stuff that was left here by the previous owners, all sorts of random agricultural, garden-y type equipment, hoses, lots of painting stuff because the previous owner was a painter, so a huge pile of paint pots there. The roof is made with some pretty solid beams, but then what's laid on top of them really isn't working as a roof at all. It's full of gaps and leaks and it's not actually secured onto the beams. Over on the other side in this little lean-to section, there's a dividing wall which is actually quite sturdy. And then once again, everything kind of goes wrong in the roof, and I don't know what's going on here, but it's a bit of a mess. It's pretty unsafe, and I don't know why there's a load of rebar lying on top of the roof which serves no purpose as far as I can see. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here in a second before it collapses on me. Here's a bit more of the roof. This is all going to have to come down as you can imagine, but we'll try and save as much of the walls as we can.
Okay, we're starting to get towards the last of the stuff in the shed now. There's some buckets with some very dubious looking liquid in them. I think it's probably just water because the roof isn't completely sealed, but it's still a bit gross. I don't really want to tip it out anywhere, especially this one, which is pretty much completely full. Don't know what this is. There's all sorts of painting paraphernalia in here because the previous owner was a painter, so if I don't know what something is, I'm just guessing it's related to painting. The main thing that I'm not sure what to do with is this huge yellow pipe. This apparently is what people used to use to get water out of our main water deposit. Apparently what they would do was, this was one method that one owner tried at one point, apparently, is they would sink this entire pipe into the deposit, let it try and fill with water, and then take the end out and use it as a siphon to get the water out of the deposit and onto the fields, which I just think is kind of mad because this thing is pretty heavy. I can't imagine trying to wrangle it into the deposit, hold it underwater, get it all full of water. So yeah, that's what it was used for. I don't know if I can use it for anything else, but there's a lot of it and I just don't know where to store it if we decide to keep it. And then there's odd bits and pieces here. There's this tyre, which I don't think we're going to need, but I'll see if anyone that I know can use it for anything. There's some pots of unopened paint, so we'll keep those. And then there's odd tools, which I'm pretty sure can be rehabilitated. There's some bits for the bottom of hose, and some of these blades here. And then there's this thing, which... this wooden thing, which I've seen in places before, and I'm sure I knew at one point what it was. I've completely forgotten, so yeah, if you know, let me know. Anyway, I'm keeping all of this for now because we might be able to clean up and reuse some of this stuff. Okay, I need to move all of this, but I don't really want to be spending any time under this roof. As you can see, it's very precarious. I think actually a bit of it fell down recently because I found a tile on top of all of these bags of cement and stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is just poke it a bit, see what falls down, and yeah, try and knock it down and make it a bit safer before I get under there. Okay, if you're squeamish about bugs, you might want to skip ahead, but look who I found living in the dead wood.
I also removed the roof of the shed, which was not attached to the beams at all, so it was pretty easy to get off. Apart from one or two of them, the beams themselves actually look in salvageable condition, I think, so I'll probably try and use them in the new roof, however we decide to build that.
I'm also not sure what kind of roof to put on. There's various options, nothing super fancy. It is just a shed, but something fairly cheap and easy to install. What we want to do is, coming out here, put some sort of like pergola stretching out in this direction and grow some vines up it, and have here like an undercover, slightly undercover shaded area where we can put a table, and basically turn this whole area into a nice area with outdoor seating. We'll probably take this tree down because it's a little bit in the way. This is a false acacia. It's really nice, but it is a bit in the way, and we've got lots of other false acacia trees. They grow like crazy here, so I think we can afford to lose this one. And then apart from that, yeah, just render the front of the shed, maybe change the door, or at least put a better locking, closing system on it. Get rid of the wood pile there, have a nice white, fresh front here, little table in front, and just make this area really nice.
In amongst all the junk in the shed, I found the perfect slabs to use for a little bridge over the water channel which I dug a few months ago.
Official bridge engineer.
It was really hard to separate out anything that could be easily recycled or reused from amongst all the rubbish. Most of it was just so rotten or unidentifiable that it really just had to go in a sack, which will sadly end up in a landfill. Unfortunately, this is just the reality of taking on a place that's been unused for a long time. I'm sure all of this stuff was organised and neat once, but now we're left dealing with the effects of time, weather and wildlife.
What do I even do with this?
It wasn't the most pleasant job, but after many carloads of rubbish, we were almost done and we were finally starting to see the potential of the shed.
Today I am going to start work on the shelving cupboard area beneath the countertop, which we're going to have along here. We're going to build the walls, or I guess the dividers between the cabinets that are going to go under the countertop, just using brick. We'll plaster over it and smooth it all out and make it look nice and rustic. The doors we'll probably make ourselves out of pallet wood, probably, like most things. I'm going to reuse these kind of brick boards, which are called baldos, not sure what they're called in English, on top as the support for whatever countertop we end up putting on here. These are the ones that I pulled off the roof of the shed that we're dismantling. So it's good to be able to reuse stuff. This is a design that I had in mind. This is what I've seen at a friend's house. I think they've done it really well. It looks really nice and I really like the wooden doors. They've done it with bricks just like this. So I'm going to stick to that and I have confidence that it's going to look nice. This is another reality of living in an old house that was built a long time ago. There's not a lot of straight walls and this pillar here, which we're meeting up with, is not fully straight. It gets bigger at the top, so there's a gap at the bottom. So I'm going all in with the filling gaps with rubble method, and I'm chucking some stones in here so that I can then kind of fill it in with cement and it doesn't waste too much cement. It's not really a problem building like this. I mean, not that I've got much experience, but I'm not really a person who measures very much anyway, so I kind of like working around the wonkiness that already exists. Makes me feel that I don't have to get things too perfect either, and it almost feels a bit more like, feels more creative than like engineering-y, you know, like building around more organic weird shapes rather than trying to get everything just like dead straight. Mauro will probably disagree. Where is he? Did he hear that? I don't think he heard that. Anyway, it's gonna work out fine. This kitchen's gonna work out fine.
For the top of the counter, I decided to reuse the long bricks which I'd removed from the roof of the shed, so I cut them down to size so that I could lay them across the columns. I'd already plastered the back wall of the cabinets, which I thought would be really hard and awkward to reach once the top was on, but I then realised the sides would also be super awkward, so I decided to plaster them too at this stage.
Okay, I'm on to the last side, this one round here, which you can't see. It's kind of a shame, I'm really enjoying this, so I would like to carry on, but I haven't got anything else to plaster right now. Just to answer a few questions that you might be thinking, or maybe not, maybe I'm doing everything by the book and no questions arise, but I doubt it. Why haven't I done these bits at the front? Well, I thought I would leave these because I'm going to be putting the hinges for the doors into here, and if I drill in like the roll plugs for the screws like into these bricks, it's not going through brick, it's probably just going to be going through space and cement, so I didn't think that would be that strong, so I'm probably going to cement in the screws for the hinges when I cover it all up. If I had the hinges already and was organised, I would be able to do it now as part of all of this, but I haven't, so that's what's going on there. I've also left it a mess like at the floor level. That's deliberate because we're going to have to pour a self-levelling concrete floor in here at some point, because not only is the floor very bumpy and uneven in places and that needs levelling out, but it's actually sloping away in this direction by a few centimetres. So that's going to happen later. Maybe you're wondering why I'm doing things in this order. Maybe you're thinking, shouldn't the floor have gone down first really? Well, maybe, but I'm just trying to work with the time I've got and the materials we've got and the knowledge I have, and I'm trying to do things in the order that I can to keep this kitchen usable while we're trying to also live here. Trying to do things so that I can kind of build my skills as I go along. Also to not have to buy all the materials at once, and it'll be nice to get one side of the room usable before we start ripping up countertops and stuff over here. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just learning as I go along and figuring it out as I go, but I have confidence that it's all going to work out fine.
The next day I put the long flat bricks on top of the cabinets. Once all the cabinets are built, I'm going to be tiling the surface with some beautiful green tiles. This job was really quick, so afterwards I decided that I would actually fill in the floors of the cabinets after all with cement. I started off by picking lots of stones out of the field to fill up space before cementing over them. I decided that I would use old tiles in the floor of the cabinets to make them easy to clean, but before I could lay those tiles I had to build the cabinet floors up by between 6 and 11 centimetres due to the sloped kitchen floor.
I also just realised that I can reuse the offcuts from the flat bricks as well on the bottom to take up some space at the bottom of these cabinets, which is great because it uses up some rubble. And then I'm just filling the gaps with gravel because it's cheaper than cement. That is it. That is the last of the floors for the cabinet in place. And I am done for today, and I think I'm done for this video as well. If you've made it this far, well done. I feel like we spent a lot of time in this dingy little corner of the kitchen. This is where I've been for the last week, so yeah, sorry about that. Once the cement has dried, I will tidy up the front bits, which are still a bit messy, and I'll put the tiles on in there, so I'm looking forward to that. It's going to look really nice with the tiles, I think. But that is it for now, and that is it for this video, because I need to go and make it. Thank you for watching it. I hope you have a good week, and we'll see you next week.